So you can see now that it's bolted up, you'd be hard pressed trying to get a wrench in there. Those webbings are pretty tight. Good day everybody, welcome to today's video. Today's video I'm doing something a little bit different. And I'm calling this the Novak Conversions LS Swap TJ Motor Mounts hack. And maybe it's just like way over my head. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe my LS engine is designed a little different from maybe other ones, but I found, and you're gonna see in the video, when I went to mock up the engine the first time, I realized that there's no way you're gonna get a wrench between the motor mount and the engine block to tighten it up afterwards. So this video is my solution that worked. And works a lot easier instead of struggling. So hope you guys enjoyed the video and let me know what you guys think. If I weld some keystock like right there, that will kind of act like a wrench to make it easier to tighten, because you guys knew how much of a pain in the ass it was beforehand. So I just got set up and there is some play. So that's where I'm sitting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just tack it up and see how it fits. You don't want it to fit too tight. You want it to fit a little bit loose, so you have some play when you're putting in the engine. Now, as you can see, theoretically, I still got some movement in there. I got some play, but when I tighten it up, it'll act like a built-in wrench. I'm hoping that'll work. If not, we're grinding it off. Alright, so I'm going to show you what I did right here. You guys saw the welding and everything else, and now I'm going to explain it to you. Is that when I first test fitted the engine, we're going to be putting the engine back in, is that I found it quite the hassle to get it into the mounts. If I already had the plates on with the bolt through it, and ended up on this side here, I had to remove it and then try to screw it back on. But then I got thinking, you know, once the engine was in place, you know, unless my LS engine is designed different with the webbing, it's pretty impossible to get a wrench in there. And it seemed like a lot of screwing around to make it happen. So of course you guys saw I welded the mounts. And what's really important is the way the mount sits in there. I'm gonna grab this bottom one because you see it's kind of beveled there. So what it does is that it sits up right in there. And that's how it fits. Otherwise, you know, it could be possible that the mount could slide up in there and whatever have you not. However, welding the keystock, putting the bolt through, and it works perfect. The kit comes with Stover nuts. This is an awesome add to the kit because these are self-locking nuts. You wouldn't want to use nylocks, of course, because the heat may melt it. Now, however, with this set up the way it is, to tighten that would be pretty hard unless the engine's in and then it's holding the bracket down. So what I did is I grabbed a regular nut that I could just thread on by hand and set it up where this here will be tightened afterwards. And if you go this route, I highly recommend that you just hand tighten it only with a wrench. Don't try to put an impact on it, because you don't want to put too much stress on the bolt with an impact gun that might possibly bust that keystock out by chance or start rounding your bolt. It's best to just do it by hand. And I'm just going to set this up just to show you. So I got my bracket, bolt, isolator, other isolator, washer, nut. I don't think it really matters how you go about doing this, but if you just kind of push it up through that hole somewhat. Drop the motor mount down, one hand, washer it. And that way, it's got some play. If I need to move it, tighten her up by hand a little bit to set the engine in, then we're gonna be golden. So basically right now, when I drop in the engine, I got some play. I can rotate it with the keystock, and then once it's bolted down, I can get a wrench underneath, tighten it up. That's my hack. We'll see if it works. All right, moment of truth. We're gonna see if the motor mount hack works. We're gonna slide it into place, hopefully without any issues, get everything bolted up, and be free. Gently bring this in. So this is my first hurdle here, and I'm probably gonna have to pull them out and stick them back in, as that the motor mounts are interfering with the oil pan. Loosened up the motor mount, and I was able to fish it through, but I'm just gonna lower it down a little bit more and see how those clearances are gonna be. So what you gotta do is I backed it off enough and I slid it out of that hole, which gives me all this room to play. So now I can grab my bolts and stick them in. This is the moment where you should never put yourself underneath a load like my fingers. Not the smartest thing in the world to do, because it could come crashing down, pinch my hands, and it would not be a good day. Would not be a good day for all of us. Let's get this last bolt started. All right, let's lower her down onto the mounts. Put some weight on her. Some of them I can get a ratchet wrench on. This one right here I'm gonna have to do with an open end. One thing too, make sure your bolt is still aligned in the keystock if you follow this route. Because if it's not gonna be fun. Now comes the fun part. Leave a little bit of tension still on the motor, because you're gonna pull that nut that I just pulled out, and we're gonna grab the proper stover to lock her in place. And this is where I'm gonna get them both out, then lift the engine up a little bit, get this mount in the position, and then start tightening it down. So once you got everything into place, there's enough room between the motor mount and the bolt that you can jab a screwdriver in there, so you can start to tighten this up now. And these stovers like to go on pretty tight. So that's what I was saying before, like maybe other LS engines are designed differently, but I think trying to get this bolted up afterwards and tightened down would be a little bit of a pain in the butt. But that's why I'm doing it the way I am. And while going through the process of tightening this up, you got to make sure your lower isolators sit in that groove, because that could knock your engine alignment out quite a bit. Check, double check, triple check. So I got this one, then I started tightening up that one, then I came back here and checked, and then this one here was kind of out But now I've both got them kind of set, so now I'm just gonna take the tension fully off the chains and finish tightening her up. So now I'm just giving the final tightness, and you don't want to tighten till they're, you know, the rubber split. But I'm tightening up so they're snug and they're bulging a little bit. I'm taking my hand here, feeling around the bushing, our isolator, to make sure that it is seated in there good. And I'm pretty happy with that. So I don't know what you guys think. It worked for me, it may work for you. Maybe you found a different solution. Maybe your engine block is machined differently. I don't know. Or maybe I was just doing it completely wrong. But anyways, I'd like to know in the comments below what you did when you experienced this, if you experienced this, or maybe I'm just totally right out to lunch. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. And I'll see you guys in the next video doing this LS swap in my 2003 DJ.